Hello everybody and welcome back to the MetalHead Reacts birthday marathon, where this week, the week of my birthday, I'm going back to the early 90s, 1991 to 1993, and looking at the music videos that sort of informed and shaped my taste in heavy metal music. It was about 1991, when I was 11 years old, when I started to really get into heavy metal. Before then I'd heard things like Dio, Black Sabbath, Judas Priest, that sort of thing. I'd heard that before then, but it was around about the time I was 11 years old that I started really getting into metal. And this is because my older brother, he used to record this heavy metal show off MTV called Headbangers Ball. And every morning before school, we would watch the episode of Headbangers Ball that he had recorded that previous Sunday. We'd watch the music videos before we went to school. We did that for the whole week until the next episode was on, so on and so forth. So that's really sort of what shaped my taste in music, watching all these different videos, discovering new and different songs and different music. And today we're going to be looking at possibly one of the most well-known metal bands of all time, Type O Negative. Now, when I first heard Type O Negative, it was something very, very different to anything I'd heard before. It was very bass forward, the bass guitar was very prominent, and that's possibly what brought me to love the sound of bass guitars so much, because it was just right there. And then, of course, we have Pete Steele's amazing voice. He had that really deep, rich, gorgeous voice, but then he could also do sort of like not screams necessarily, but he could go up like several octaves and do a higher pitched vocal. He had an amazing voice, and the guy to look at, he was a very impressive looking man. You can't deny that. I mean, he was a big bastard, and he just looked like someone you would not want to bump into in a dark alley, unless you were into that sort of thing. But he had a presence that you could not deny, and the sort of gothic romantic music was something I hadn't come across yet, because I came across Paradise Lost, which at the time was considered gothic metal. You're talking around about Gothic, Lost Paradise, Draconian Times, Icon, Shades of God. They were considered gothic metal, but I hadn't come across this kind of gothic metal before. So of course the video we're going to look at is Black No.1, which I'm pretty sure was the first video from Type O Negative that I ever saw, and we are going to look at the video version. I know it's a good 7 minutes shorter than the actual song, but this is the way that I first experienced Type O Negative, which is the purpose of doing this. And as I've said in the previous videos of this series, we are looking at videos from like 1991 to 1993, so the quality of the videos may not actually be that good, but it's mostly the music that we're listening to. So let's jump into this. I know what to expect, and I really love this song, so we'll just jump into it and have a listen. So, Black No.1 by Type O Negative. Let's listen.
She's in love with herself. She likes the dark.
That bass, man.
And on her milk white neck, the devil's mark. Now it's All Hallows Eve. The moon is full. Or will she trick or treat? I bet she will. She's got a date at midnight with Nosferatu. Loving you, loving you was like loving the dead. Was like loving the dead. Loving you was like loving the dead. Loving you was like loving the dead. Loving you was like loving the dead. Was like loving the dead. Was like loving the dead. Was like loving the
There we go. Black No.1, Typo Negative. Now, I always remember I found that video hilarious. You know, it's so over the top. You know, it's just Pete Steele's face pulling faces whilst he's singing. And, you know, him standing there with that massive, you know, upright bass and playing it like a normal guitar. It was just bloody hilarious to me. And the thing is, he's such a big guy. I couldn't, you know, you wouldn't put it past him to actually play one really like that, you know. And of course, the song itself is also, it's a little bit silly, you know. The subject matter of the song is silly, you know. Black No.1 is hair dye. The song is about basically just a goth girl. Now, like I said, obviously the proper version of the song is about 7 minutes longer, and in the video version they do miss out the final verse. But we'll still talk about that verse anyway once we talk about that. But like I said, this was like nothing. I don't think I've even heard another band similar to Typo Negative, really. I'm sure there are some. But, you know, that very bass forward sound and the actual whole overall sound of the band, they've got a very definitive sound. You know, you could not mistake anybody else for Typo Negative because they've got such a specific sound. You know, as soon as that guitar tone comes in, you know exactly who you're listening to. And there's something about the way that they play, the style that they play in. It's very recognisable almost instantly. You know, so there are a band that sort of caught my interest, you know, because obviously, you know, being 11, 12, 13, I was sort of going, oh, this is new and interesting. So, you know, this one with all its theatricality and obviously Pete Steele's amazing voice, you know, it's one of those sort of ones that makes you pay attention and you go, hold on, this is interesting. This is different, you know. But I mean, even back then, you know, I could tell the song was not exactly 100% serious, and obviously anybody that's like watched Typo Negative or anything about Pete Steele knows that he does have quite the sense of humour. So obviously, the lyrics. She's in love with herself. She likes the dark. And on her milk-white neck, the devil's mark. It's All Hallows Eve. The moon is full. Will she trick or treat? I bet she will. So, like, on her milk-white neck, the devil's mark, bite of a vampire, as it were. She's got a date at midnight with Nosferatu. Obviously, vampire. Oh, baby, Lily Munster ain't got nothing on you. Lily Munster, obviously, from is the mother from the Munsters, I believe. And Lily Munster and Morticia Addams, they're basically considered... Oh, and Elvira, sorry. They're, like, considered the quintessential image of what a goth woman should look like. They are the image of goth woman that, everybody goes, beautiful goth woman, and it's one of those three, and he's like, Lily Munster ain't got nothing on you, so you look damn good. When I called her evil, she just laughed and cast that spell on me. Boo bitchcraft. And he goes, yeah, you want to go out because it's raining and blowing. You can't go out because your roots are showing. Dye them black. You dye them black. Black, 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 black. Number one. So, you go straight in there, You want to go out because it's sort of, whether you like it's sort of autumn or fall, if you will. You want to go out, but you can't because, your roots are showing. You need to dye your hair before you can go out. It's like, you can't go out because your roots are showing. Dye them black. Use black number one hair dye. That sort of thing. It's very silly, but it's presented in such a serious manner. That's what makes it so interesting. Then he goes on, little wolfskin boots and clove cigarettes, an erotic funeral for which she's dressed, and he spelt witch as in ha 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 cackle cackle witch rather than for witch. Her perfume smells like burning leaves. Every day is Halloween. That last line is a line I was so sick of hearing when because my general appearance these days is metalhead, but I used to be proper goth, the long black coat, the really nice sort of flowing black shirts, and like the buckled or laced trousers, that sort of thing, big ass new rocks with spikes all over them. I used to be proper goth, black nail varnish, eyeliner all the time. I looked good. But everybody would be like, Halloween's not till next year, or Halloween's not till next month, or yada yada. How often you bloody hear those? And you sort of go, yeah. Fucking wanker. Anyway, and clove cigarettes. For some reason, clove cigarettes seem to be a big thing with goths, and I can't understand why, because they are fucking disgusting. They stink. Obviously, normal cigarettes do, but, clove, I hate clove. And then it goes, loving you was like loving the dead throughout to the end of the thing. So, it's not exactly a deep, meaningful song, but it does have some substance to it. And, like I said, the words to it are a little bit on the silly side, but, presented in such a serious manner. And, it was, like I said, it was just something so new and so different that you couldn't help but listen to it. You couldn't help but be drawn in by it because it was so different, and Pete Steele's voice and that, that stare that he gives to the camera, you're sort of like, whoa, yeah. It's just a great song, and I love Typo Negative. It was an absolute tragedy when Pete Steele passed, because I'm sure they had dozens more albums in them. I'm sure they would have been going. Well, they would have still been going. I'm sure of it by now. But the fact that they decided not to continue the band at all without Pete, I also respect that, because nobody could possibly replace him. His overall presence was a big part of the band. That voice as well. I've only ever heard one other person get even close to that voice, and that was is it Anthony Vincent on 10 Second Songs? Is that his name? Can't remember if that's his name. But, you know, the guy on 10 Second Songs, he actually did a cover of Katy Perry's Dark Horse in the style of Typo Negative, and it was brilliant. It was really, really close. You know, but there's no way they could replace Pete Steele after he'd passed. So they just went, you know what, this is his legacy, we'll let it go. Although they still maintain an online presence, you know, they obviously don't produce any more music. So, you know, you've got to respect the band for that. You know, they respected Pete Steele, you know, they respected his legacy out of the band, you know, so it was a great thing. But what else can I say on that? You know, I mean, this, like I said, this is possibly one of the best known bands in metal, you know, and there's nothing I can say that, you know, that would be news to anybody else. So I'll leave that as it is. Now, like I said, I am doing a marathon of videos for this week, where I'm looking back at the videos from the early 90s that formed and, you know, shaped my taste in heavy metal music. Like I said, they're all from the early 90s, so the video quality is not necessarily going to be that good. Copyrights permitting, there should be 2 videos a day. I've already had 2 videos where I'm not allowed to actually show the music video, but we've still got the music, and that's the important part. So hopefully we'll have lots more videos to come, so, you know, maybe join me for the next video. And yeah, if you enjoyed this video, maybe consider giving it a like, maybe even subscribe, because that would help me out quite a lot. But yeah, thank you all very, very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Bye bye.